Scooby Doo is less confused than me. Scooby Doo's less confused than me. A bit like Parliament at the minute with the formation of the politics. It's bona fide conservatism you're looking for. It's the prodigious, it's the prominent professor. Which way, anyway, Brexit can develop in the forthcoming weeks. We're looking at the Brexit amendments. Could be going with the EU or we could be going with the WTO, the World Trading Organization. World Trading Organization. Looking at the Brexit amendments, Article 51. I mean, we're looking at trading agreements. Not many people know about UK politics and trading agreements. With the EU, we're looking at with the EU. If we was to go with the EU, higher taxes, higher taxes on imports and exports. If we was to go solely with the EU, as you know, their food is dosed up with um, chlorinated chlorinated food. It's almost like what you put in a swimming pool. What do you want that in your meat? You see in the US, low taxes. As you know, we've got Japan. We've got things like Japan. Their tax, Singapore, all their tax food is, it's almost untaxable, isn't it? It's so cheap, so cheap. To go with the WTO organisation, absolutely. Um, as you know, I mean, I'm studying religiously methodical and madness with UK politics. So it's my day-to-day regime. Look at social change. How can social change change our day-to-day regime? Social change can change from simply moving place. You built up, you live in a city area. You got loads of built up city area, all different ethnicities. It's hard to get by in life. A lot of troublesome children, troublesome youth, you're too scared to let your child go to the youth club because kids are throwing stones outside, perhaps, and you want to move a bit nearer the countryside where it's a bit more, I was going to say ethical. No, it's a bit more pleasant. It's a bit more, the people by the countryside are usually quite nice, farmers, old type, nice old type of people. Anyway, as I want to get on with UK politics, what sort of induces me to do more for God than I did yesterday? I always like to say that word, don't I? I've got everyone's got a legacy they want to follow. Everyone's got that person they worship. I mean, I listen to LBC radio. I've got my own ideas, my own politics. Everyone's got their own point of view. Everyone's got their own opinion, and your opinion matters. And I listen to Nick Ferrari, James O'Brien. I haven't heard of much of Eddie Marr much. Shelley Fogarty, Ian Dale. Shelley Fogarty, I was listening to earlier actually. Ian Dale, Steve Allen, Tom Swarbrick. I've heard of Madges Noes as well. He's not bad. Not bad. He lets his presenters talk. So does Tom Swarbrick, as you know. Ian Dale, he's got his own opinion, but he's not a bad presenter. Shelley Fogarty, she's also very amicable on the phone. James O'Brien, he likes to be in charge of his phone calls, in charge of his politics. He's a bit he come across a bit abruptive, but you need different kinds of selective callers, don't you? Selective presenters to make it a show, I suppose. I do come across. I know I change my formation, how I want to tackle politics, how I want to tackle my opinion. My opinion is final. No one can fixate or direct my politics. My politics is my politics, and my choice of opinion is fixated to my mind, and no one will change it. Same as you guys. We listen to all the different deals. Who's going to produce the best bill for Brexit? We're trying to say if we go with the Brexit amendments as it was at Article 51, we'd get sued by all the different countries. But that is not the case, is it? It's not the case. How we're going to tackle today's formation? Uh, Firstly, I'd like to say it's bona fide conservatism because that's what it is at the moment. It's full throttle on bona fide conservatism, if you like or not. We can't help what's in front of us. We've had Labour, they've had their chances, and it's Conservative chances once again. We've had Jeremy Corbyn doing his bit. We've had Jeremy Corbyn doing his bit. We've had Tony Blair doing his bit, and he fled our country. But I'm not going to mock Tony Blair. He done his bit, a good bit. Everyone does a good bit and a bad bit. You always remember the bad bits to put that side down. So I'm not going to go into them statistics. Talking about characteristics and emphasising what I'm about to do to produce for the audience. So I hope you appreciate. I hope you can subscribe, share with friends. I want to multiply the channel. I want to get noticed. I mean, I don't do this for the sake of raining. The sake of raining. You can predict the rain, but you can't predict the politics. Politics is always up and down, as you know. Coronavirus, new restrictions in northeast England. A lot of restrictions going about, isn't it? As you know. But what is happening in northern England? Almost 2 million people in northeast England will be banned from meeting other households as COVID cases rise. Health Secretary Matt Hancock announced the temporary restrictions will be in place from midnight due to the concerning rate of infection. I heard Boris Johnson say we might go into a 2 week lockdown again. So bear that in mind, ladies and gents. He's doing it for the safety of our dominion. Our safety is paramount, absolutely, and he's doing the best by the UK, our democracy, absolutely. The rules affect Newcastle, Gateshead, Sunderland, Northumberland, South Tyneside, North Tyneside, and County Durham, Canter area. I want to have a little discussion after this, because it really needs to be dealt with and spread. The word spread because it's happening, and people are doing it on purpose, I believe. But I'll get into that in a minute. The data says that we must act now. Mr. Hancock told the House of Commons. He said Sunderland currently had an infection rate of 103 cases per 100,000 people in South Tyneside and Gateshead. The latest published rates were 93.4 and 83.6 respectively. People really need to take note. I wish more people would listen in so they really, because I've got a good depiction and a good direction of choice, and people don't listen in. They don't get the actual real politics, the real life scenario, what could actually happen. Because I've got a good depiction of ideas, many for different scenarios. He said Sunderland currently had an infection rate of 103 cases per 100,000 people in the South Tyneside and Gateshead. The latest published rate were 93.4 and 83.6 respectively. The government was taking swift action after concerns were raised by the councils covering the affected areas, he said. The restrictions, which will be reviewed weekly, also mean restaurants will only be able to offer table services in restaurants. Bars and pubs will be shut between 10 and 5. I mean, shutting an hour early, is that going to make much measures to the difference? I don't know. I don't think so. How about just shut the pubs completely? Anyway, what I want to get into, like kids going back to school, aren't they? Kids going back to school. I heard at Ravenscroft, teachers are finding sick for COVID test. And COVID and positive. They're positive with COVID. Positive. They reckon have been tested positive. I mean, our parents, not just teachers, our parents now trying to, they've had so much time off work and they enjoying the time off. They may be making out they're positive. You need to be correct. If you don't want to come out of lockdown for Christmas, don't make up false assumptions, false alarms, because we're going to go into lockdown. Christmas time for the children, going shopping with your parents, enjoying Christmas period, the festive season. It's traditional to spend with your family, and kids love it. So if you're going to go in, if you have got COVID or not, make sure. I mean, a common cold is a common cold at the end of the day. If your child's got a cold, it could be a common cold. So don't panic. Don't hit the panic button. Don't hit the red button. Oh yes, COVID. Don't straight outline that you've got COVID if you haven't got COVID. Make sure it's COVID before you act. Obviously, you got to be you got to be a bit worthy of the course. You could have COVID, but don't panic. Take the test, find out if it's positive. Don't just ring up work. I've got a cold, I'm a bit snizzly. I think I've got COVID. Make sure you got the full symptoms, or even if you've got half of the symptoms, perhaps, for instance, then take the test. But don't panic until you've got the test results back. Don't ring up work. You know, don't ring up school. Say, "Oh, my child might have COVID," without actually knowing the facts. I mean, I was watching the Tommy Robinson thing I posted on social media. His point of view from the video I see, which is an hour long, his point of view, it doesn't matter what culture, but it's a Muslim culture. Um, a gang in Luton raped his cousin. So he made a big debate, a big thing over social media that it was Muslim that raped his cousin. Fair enough. You're gonna be livid no matter what the culture is, but it's the way he went about it. I watched him with Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan He totally wrote him off the way he spoke about the Muslim culture. Absolutely disgusting. My granddad, I was mortified because my granddad was Muslim. You can't paint everyone, tarnish everyone with the same brush. It's good and bad of an all ethnicities. In Christian, they've got gangs, haven't you? But they're not fully. They're not following their religion. They're extremists. So you can't go, yeah, Muslim needs to go back to like he did. I don't know if you've seen that Tommy Robinson thing. He said, "Oh, Muslim culture needs to go back to their own country." It's absolutely it's fascism at its best, extremist at its best, at its finest resource. I don't know if you've seen my video that I posted. If anyone's seen it and they've marched thought I've been irrational, I always put good. Always put bad first and finish with the good um, principle at the end to make acknowledge that I'm never being fascist. Never been fascist. I've never been irrational to any culture because it's good. Like the BLM, I stuck by the start of their protest. Obviously, because they couldn't get it through, they started causing merry mayhem. But that's what people do. It infuriates that. Why can't we get our party up and running? We're just a political party. But when government and authorities say no, it's gonna they're gonna be infuriated because they probably had good intentions from the start, which they did. But unfortunately, it's against the authorities, and the authorities not going to like the consequences, which is unfair because that 2012, I think it was, they tried to set up, and that's when the teenager got shot, and that you can see exactly the reason why they wanted to set up BLM. And a lot of people were trying to proact with my rights to debate it, which I had the right, and no one could take that away from me. And a lot of people were discriminating the fact that I was saying BLM does matter. The actual political party, for the reason why they set it up, does matter. But whatever happened corresponding after that, it's not mine. It ain't the people that set it up's fault. It's the people that infuriated why I didn't let it go through as a party in the end. Anyway, Newcastle City Council leader Nick Forbes said the temporary measures would hopefully head off the potential of any further damaging full lockdown across the region. Evidence we found from local testing is that it's spreading in three main areas in pubs, in people's homes and grassroots sports, he said. However, Mr. Forbes said as of 5 BST, the regulation still has not been published despite being announced at 11:30 and coming into effect at midnight. I mean, they're saying the grassroots of the problems coming through pubs. Well, that's was exactly what I thought. You should have kept pubs shut from the start, let kids go to school. Kids losing out their education is more important than pubs open for the adults to go and collect COVID and pass on to their family. The longer this goes on, the greater the info vacuum and more alarmed people are getting. We need clarity now, he said. Decisions between the council and government will still continue on Thursday over whether to exclude grandparents helping with childcare from the restrictions. Mr. Forbes tweeted the authority had specifically asked for this to be allowed and was hoping for government confirmation. I mean, landlords ain't going to like the news, but for safety measures, they've got to just go be amicable about saving everyone's life, haven't they? Go, yeah, Mr. Johnson's, he's got good facts, really. It's not opinions, facts. Shut the pubs. If that's, as he says on there, grassroots problem is with pubs open, we'll shut the pubs. Make the kids safe going back to school. Kids' education is more important than adults going to the pub, I know. The new measures include meeting people outside your household or support bubble in private homes and gardens is banned. Exemptions including attending a birth, visiting someone who is crying, work, education, registered childcare, emergency or care, moving house or child contract arrangements. People are advised not to socialise outside their household in public venues. Residents should only use transport for essential purposes such as going to school or work. Pubs, restaurants, cafes to be table service only, and all leisure venues must shut at 10 p.m. Holidays are permitted but only members of your household or support bubble. People should not separate at any grassroots sports or play sports in the restricted areas. Schools, colleges, and universities remain open. Travel outside the area is permitted, but visiting another home or garden is not. Care homes are closed to non-essential visitors except in end-of-life circumstances. There are no local changes to funerals, weddings, and religious ceremonies. Mr. Forbes said council leaders had requested additional funding for policing to enforce the measures, as well as additional local testing facilities. County Durham's Director of Public Health, Amanda Healy, said, if we don't want to be able to continue to go to schools, to keep in contact with relatives, but to stop an increase in the cases we have seen, we are really urging people to adhere to the guidance coming out today. Making sense of positive cases is fraught with difficulties in recent weeks. The North East has seen a marked increase in the amount of testing being done. That in itself will lead to an increase in infection being detected. The more you look for it, more you are likely to find. But the rise in the North East is more than just that. We can see from the community testing done in the early part of September, the proportion of tests returning a positive result has also gone up. But that is the case for much of the country. What marks the North East out of the fact that positive cases in hospitals have also started rising? That is the case in the North West in Yorkshire and Humber to helps to explain restrictions that have been targeted in these places. Gateshead Council leader Martin Gannon said, nobody, nobody welcomes these things, but I would think that the vast majority of people would recognise these are extremely difficult times and we need to act and put and all pull together. Mr Hancock said he knew the decisions have a real impact on families, on businesses and local communities, and I can tell everyone affected that we do not take these decisions lightly. I told you about what happened yesterday, didn't I, with Nigel Farage in the English Channel, seeing the dinghies coming over from France with the 11 men from Yemen. If people can come in 11s, that is us coming over in 11, we get fined £3,500. But they're not, they've been sent back. I heard Priti Patel are getting sent back to their own, back to France, the way they're coming. Shadow Health Secretary John Answorth called for the more testing capacity to be available in areas where there were tightened restrictions. He said it was urgent the government fixing testing, fixing tracing, or we face a very bleak winter indeed. Small businesses broadly welcomed the approach but called for more support to adapt to the new measures. Simon Hanson, North East Development Manager for the Federation of Small Business, said it was absolutely critical that small and micro business were given grant support quickly to help them adapt to provide cash flow. However, the owner of Patricia Restaurant in Jesmond described the new measures a bit of a nightmare. Nick Greaves said would lose one of its latest sittings if it shut at 10 p.m. and the virus is still dangerous before 10 p.m. as it was afterwards. We have come so far to get back on our feet, and now we are back down in this saga again, he said. It could even be a little more dangerous with people going to the pub, necking as much as they can, and then they end up drunk, and they are like, let's go to a house or something. I don't know if you guys are doing a bit of studying, a bit of housework. I mean, if you want to listen to, I mean, I'll do my own little short podcast spell. You can always put it on why you're tidying up or why you're washing, not why you're washing, why you're doing, even if you're an artist, doing a bit of drawing or doing a bit of any bit of housework, anything like that, always put it on. I listen to LBC while I'm studying actually, and I listen to my own politics again. I like to know what I can amend to make it a bit more, a bit more my own. I always emphasise my own abilities and listen, watch other things, see what's going on around different politicians. Nigel Farage goes out and does his own thing. Boris goes out and does his own thing. All the politicians you want to follow to go out and do their own thing. Gives you ideas and good guidance to set your own formation, your own politics, really. See what you want to tackle. I was been tackling sporadic knife crime, sporadic car incidents, all different things I want to achieve in life. Practice safe driving in the UK, absolutely. Coronavirus. Who says weekly case in Europe eclipse March peak? I mean, a lot of youth today getting their driving license, going on UK roads, driving absolutely, and there's, you've got innocent children, innocent parents on the roads, on the A12s, on the M25s, and they're driving under the influence of alcohol and narcotics. Trying to, trying to, I'm trying to give, encourage children, not children, young teenagers, well, late teenagers, to drive sensible. Check out for speed signs. Check out for road safety, road awareness. New weekly coronavirus case in Europe has exceeded numbers reported when the pandemic first peaked in March. The World Health Organization, has said, speaking on Thursday, who regional director Hans Kluge said 300,000 new infections reported last week alone. We have a very serious situation unfolding before us, he said. Some European countries, including the UK and France, have recorded their highest daily tallies in months. Testing capacity has increased as Europe since the pandemic began. Meeting that case are now more likely to be identified and recorded. But Mr. Clue said new figures also shown alarming rates of transmissions across the region. Hospital admissions and deaths have not yet seen a rise, although Spain and France are seeing an upward trend. Hope you guys are coming in with me, listening, taking on board, appreciating it, and also subscribing. All subscribing is always giving me a bit of encouragement, guys. It's when I come out of good, valuable news, you may want to spread it to spread the good news because people need to take restrictions in life. While younger people who are less likely to be severely impacted if they are infected currently make up the largest proportion of newly recorded coronavirus, there are fears of many more cases of serious illness as the virus spreads to older and more vulnerable groups. I mean, I'm inviting, I'm a nice chap. I'm a nice person. I invite any political party, any political agenda, even religion agenda. I'm not fascist. I'm not fascist in this light. I'm not an extremist. I respect, as you can hear, I'm my understanding of the LBC and other things, or, that Tommy Robinson. I took his point of view when I see the owl video, but I didn't see where, how, why, and when. How I always look at things. I try and tackle things from every angle. I watch different videos, different source references, and find out the truth. What's behind it? That's what you got to do. In a case of a murder scene, some people get nicked and haven't actually done the crime. So you got to look at where, why, when, and how before you make assumptions. Even in politics, you can't make assumptions without knowing what you're voting for, what you're looking at. According to the WHO, there have been 5 million confirmed cases and more than 228,000 fatalities across Europe since the pandemic began. Wake up call. Mr. Clues told Thursday briefing that lockdown measures introduced this spring and early summer have produced clear results. I mean, as you know, just put, when you scan read something, you also don't get the whole initial story. So you need to brief read things, read it over and over again. That's why I read and record it because I listen to it back when I've got time spare, or if I'm doing a bit of artwork, I've got it recorded on, I'm playing it back. I listen to it again just in case I miss something. In June, cases hit all-time low, he said. The September case numbers, however, should serve a wake-up call for all of us. You guys, if you watch my YouTube, I'm looking straight at my laptop. So if you're on my Facebook watching in or Castbox, you can see me live looking straight at my YouTube channel. It's on. I posted a link on Facebook and Castbox. I usually post my link on there too. Appreciate it all come through. If you're driving and you're in your car, thank you for listening. Please subscribe. But he stressed that the knowledge about the best ways to contain the virus had improved since the pandemic first spread to Europe. "We fought it back before, we can fight it back again," he said. Earlier this week, Mr. Clues warned that Europe should prepare for a rise in number of coronavirus deaths in October and November, warning it's going to get tougher. What's the situation around Europe? In the UK, the number of new day cases has reached the highest level since mid-May. New rules have been imposed to limit social gatherings and further local restrictions for parts of the North East England were announced on Thursday. When this finishes, it's going to be like D-Day, isn't it? It's going to be like D-Day. It's going to be one memorable um, silence, isn't it? When I get up, well, ain't going to be silence. It'll be fireworks. Everyone will go mad, wouldn't they? Flying flags, throwing flags, fireworks everywhere. Everyone jumping for joy. We've beaten coronavirus. It's a long-winded uh, practice, isn't it? France, meanwhile, recorded 10,593 cases on Thursday, the highest daily number since the pandemic began. Wow. Health Minister Olivier Véran acknowledged the coronavirus is again very active. Lyon and Nice, two of France's biggest cities, have been given until Saturday to come up with new measures to tackle their outbreaks. Mr Varane and Prime Minister Jean Castex are among several ministers facing legal action over the handling of the crisis. Other countries are seeing their own spikes. Spain on Wednesday recorded 239 new coronavirus deaths, the highest number since June. Many of the country's new infections have been in the capital, Madrid, where authorities are planning to announce new lockdown measures. The Czech Republic has reported more than 2,000 daily cases for the first time. The country's prime minister called on people to allow the new rules to prevent an exceptional increase in infections. Cases have also reached a new daily peak in Netherlands, with the government expected to announce new coronavirus measures on Friday. I really hope my channel gets out there, gets noticed, gets rectified before I die of COVID. I've really tried my hardest to get my name heard, name mentioned. The proclamation is well, I didn't think I've been reading criminal law books, and proclamation is declaration of consent. So when I've been reading constitutional law, criminal law, I think the word must have come up, and that's why it's proclamation news and governance. I want to get my name you know politically spoken about a lot. PNG. I want people to subscribe. On people who actually come in and think, yeah, he's got a good detail, a good formation of politics. Let's listen in, let's tune in, let's interact with him. He's helping make a difference. It's good to talk. It's good to interact. I use lots of social media devices, different things. I try and interact with people. I'm what's the word? I'm not very great at confrontation, but if people are amicable and they speak in a nice, sensible manner, I'll be polite back. But I get frustrated when people try and dictate my politics. They try and dictate my politics. I don't like that. A dictator in politics is not, I'm going to find my microphone at your head if he's in front of me. But I'm not. I don't want to be that way inclined, and I definitely don't want to fight outbreak over stupid politics. It's not stupid. I enjoy it, but it can get stupid. I've had many debates and it gets out of hand. Coronavirus. Jacob Rees-Mogg criticises Carpin over tests. I don't want politics to turn into boxing. I've walked away from boxing to do something more. Well, I wish I thought it was more amicable, but still seems like World War when you talk about it with some people. Senior Minister Jacob Rees-Mogg has been criticised after he described concern over coronavirus testing shortages and carping. Common leaders, the common leader told MPs people should instead celebrate the phenomenal success of increasing test capacity. Yeah, it doesn't mean celebrate as in let's get 10 bottles of wine and have a house party. I mean celebrate it, have a nice meal, sit down meal with your family, watch a nice movie with your loved ones. Labour Shadow Health Minister Alex Norris said he should immediately apologise for his comments. A number 10 spokesman said the government increasing test capacity. I mean, maybe you should get like a notepad and sort of, every month when you get paid, have a nice meal, sit down meal with family, celebrate that you're living through this, absolute crisis at the moment. And the government are supporting us through furlough schemes, they're supporting us through universal credit, putting food and water on your table and a roof over your head. You should be thankful for it. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson defended the coronavirus testing system, saying it is trying to meet a colossal spike in demand. And on Thursday, figures revealed that people using community coronavirus testing centres in England are waiting longer for results than the previous weeks. Only a third test carried out in community venues came back in 24 hours the week of the 9th of September, down from two-thirds the week before. The NHS Test and Trace said. But mind you, like Germany and Italy, they've got these tests already. They've got the whole for the whole. As soon as you go in their airport, they've got them there. With half hour, you get their results back. I don't know why we haven't got it yet. Boris is saying it's going to cost three-thirds of the NHS budget to get this up and running. We need to get it up and running ASAP. Phenomenal success. Asked about testing by Labour's shadow leader of the House, Valerie Vaz, Mr. Rees-Mogg said the issue of testing is one where we have gone from a disease that nobody knew about a few months ago to one where nearly a quarter of a million people a day can be tested. As Prime Minister is expected that to go up to half a million people a day by the end of October. And instead of the endless carping saying it's difficult to get them, we should be celebrating this phenomenal success of British nation in getting up to the quarter of a million tests for disease that nobody knew about until early in the year. That is success by scientists or health experts and our administration. Mr. Rees-Mogg acknowledged that demand was exceeding supply, but added the supply was growing. What has been done? It really, it is really rather remarkable and something we should be proud of, he said. Responded to his comments, Mr. Noyes said, for weeks, people across the country have been struggling to get coronavirus tests, but rather than fixing problems, the government have been resorted to a blizzard of blame shifting and excuses. Now out of touch ministers have got a new message to those who can't get tests. Stop complaining and praise us. Jacob Rees-Mogg should immediately apologise. Whining about the public not being careful enough won't sort anything. Only his government can fix the testing shambles they are presiding over. I'll tell you what the government should do, like I keep saying. The only way to tackle it is just, shut pubs. That is that is fixating on the democracy straight away. It's like a naughty kid, isn't it, taking their computer away when they're naughty. Take the pubs away to stop adults being naughty, stopping people going to local gatherings, stopping people getting drunk, acting silly. Um, that's where, as said a minute ago, the grassroots of the problem is in the pub. So why not shut the problem down? Simple as that. Asked about Rees-Mogg's comments, a Downing Street spokesman said the Prime Minister was clear about the need to increase testing capacity. I think what the government are worried about is people fleeing the streets, drinking in the streets. If they shut pubs down, perhaps, who knows? But the root of the problem is in a pub. Shut the pub. That's all I can say. Coronavirus: Singapore and Thailand added to England's quarantine-free list. We might not have Christmas if the pubs don't get shut down immediately. That's all I can say. People arriving from Singapore and Thailand and England and Scotland will not need to quarantine from Sunday morning, the government has said. I mean, if we've done a survey with kids and adults, if we have pubs open, we're not going to see Christmas to your children, and your parents might not see Christmas. But if we have the pubs shut, we might be able to have shops open at Christmas. Might have Christmas trees, candle, the lights lit up in the Christmas trees at Christmas. What's the survey then going to answer? It says there in black and white. Well, not in black and white. What I've just told you, my own initiative, my own opportunism. You know, really, do you need a rocket scientist to add the difference? You wouldn't even need a survey. What a survey come out like, because you know it's going to be shut pubs. We want Christmas. But travellers coming from Slovenia and Guadeloupe will have to self-isolate for 2 weeks. The two countries has also been added to Wales' quarantine list. While rivals there are Gibraltar and Thailand will not to self-isolate. The changes come into force at 4 BST on Saturday. This is a World War II scenario. That's why it's COVID-19 every single day. Every single day is COVID-19. Flies dropping. People dropping like flies. Flies dropping. People dropping like flies. Sounds like Pearl Harbor attack, doesn't it? People are dropping like flies. It's a serious issue. You'll probably have many, many buried as there was in the World War or Pearl Harbor. This is a big, big war zone at the moment. Big, big war zone. The Department of Transport (DfT) said there had been a significant change in both the level of pace confirmed case of coronavirus in both Slovenia and Guadeloupe. The data from Slovenia shows that in 7-day rate of cases is 29.1 per 100,000 people, up from 14.4 in the previous 7 days. The rate for Guadeloupe has risen for more than sixfold in the past 4 weeks, the DfT said. When a country's rate rises 20, the UK government considers imposing quarantine restrictions. This is silent world war. Silent world war. The travellers who do not self-isolate, when they are supposed to, can be fined of 1,000 in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, or 480 in Scotland. Transport Secretary Mr. Grant Shapps, remind passengers they are required by law to fill in a passenger's locator form. The form asks travellers to provide their contact details and UK address. Passengers can be fined up to 3,200 in England if they don't provide accurate details of 1,920 in Wales. This is vital in protecting public health and ensuring those who need to are complying with self-isolation rules. Mr. Shapps has said, "Thank you for the gift there, Mr. Shogun. Appreciate it." The decision to remove quarantine restrictions for arrivals from Thailand and Singapore is unlikely to lead in a surge of people from England visiting, as both countries are only people to enter for limited numbers of reasons, such as if they have work permits or are a spouse or a child of a resident. It's silent World War II at the moment. Do you know anyone that's got COVID? Has anyone come in contact with COVID in your kid's school, in your family, in your relatives? Please let me know. It's serious now. We're seeing these people drop like flies all around the world. Numbers going up. I don't think these numbers are not made up. These numbers are not made up of people dying. I can tell you now. I've looked at the Tenjin website. There's been no, 4 cases in 6 days. Four COVID cases in 6 days in the Tenjin area, Tenjin district, the Tenjin borough in Essex. It's not a massive amount compared to I think it's 16,000 St people, but it's people are still coming in contact with COVID. Apparently, 2 teachers at my mum's old school have got COVID as well. So it's out there. It's out there. It's not lies. It's happening. Denmark retained its quarantine exemption despite its 7-day case rate being 33.8. It's like a minefield, isn't it? It's like a mine. This COVID-19 is like a minefield. You're walking through a minefield, and then all of a sudden, 6 or 8 people have got COVID. They've been blown up. It's like a minefield. They walked on a live mine in a field, and they've had their legs blown off. That's what COVID's doing. It's a World War scenario. People like it or not, like it or leave it. Hide up. Don't hide under it or hide under it. Be safe. Not sorry. Go and act like an idiot. Risk your family's life, or take precautions. Wash hands. Put your COVID mask on when asked. Like not when asked. When the rules apply in shops, in certain local walkthroughs. The DfT urged employers to be understanding of people returning to Slovenia and Guadeloupe, and they will need to self-isolate. The statement gave an update of the possible introduction of testing at airports as a way of reducing quarantine requirements. The travel industry has demanded this should take place early to avoid further job losses. Earlier this week, Earlier this week, British Airways boss Alex Cruz called for the trials to be held for passengers flying between London and New York. He said this is imperative, adding that the airline is still fighting for own survival. Last week, Sweden was made up exempt from quarantine in Wales, England, and Scotland. At the same time, Portugal was placed back on England's quarantine list after the rise in infections. It comes as coronavirus case in the UK rose to 3,395 on Thursday. Government figures showed. While deaths within 28 days of positive coronavirus test increased by 21. I just want you to know what I was outlining, guys. The EU rules, the Brexit rules, and the WTO. What's going on? We all went for Brexit. I'll tell you what though, but the Brexit supporters are a bit like England supporters, aren't they? They've been supporting a one-legged donkey. Well, so it seemed. That's how it was said in UK Parliament. Just recently. I don't think so. I was all for Brexit since day one, and I still am. I'm still Brexit till I die. Brexiteers, but you know what England fans are like. As soon as they start losing, all the fans start shying away. It's shambles that you make up your opinion and you don't stick to your opinion because you think something else is better. All those can be amended, but I'm assuming, or from what I've heard lately, with WTO rules. Ain't a bad thing, but it's not what we wanted in the first place because WTO, World Trade Organization, even though it's lower tax, lower goods, as you know, you've got Japan, you've got China. That's where all the cheap tax goods come from. So it ain't a bad trading deal. It's not the worst. I mean, EU, the tax is higher. They can make it more harder to trade with the EU, but it's still not the end of trading with the EU. There's things you can over foresee to make arrangements. I think it's a bit of a long journey to do trading with the EU, but obviously you've got things like BMW, whatever else over there. But food wise, it's not really anything in the EU I like really. Croissants, okay, but again, that's a bad state of affairs for carbs. I'm not a great fan of carbs. I like, but the only carbs I'd have is fruit and veg, which is a carb, a source of carb, but a sugar source. Well, not veg, but fruit is fructose, as you know. Anyway, ladies and gents, it's not quite the power of UK politics, unfortunately, but it's been a great cast, almost a full hour. So please share, please subscribe. I've always got a good depiction of a good story, as I'm reading politics every day. It's part of my study, and I'm looking at other source reference, front bench, back bench, all kinds of politics. We'll do some more international relations, trying to bring different diversity to, well, not play with, interact with more than anything else. See what else we can come up with. All different communities and social change, and like New York, we had the Bishop Gang. The Bishop Gang were a big gang as well. They had them in New Zealand. I studied it in media studies in 1994, so we can come. You can talk about a bit of history. Might make it a bit more interesting. The Bishop's gang retired in 1996 when I think they call it the Godfather got. I think he got shot. I believe, at a party brawl it was. But yeah, and then the Bishop gang ended. There's a lot of gun crime, isn't there, in the US? Their politics over there is totally more, oh, it's rigid, isn't it? Very rigid along the laws of gun crime. You can have a gun in your house. It's ludicrous. I mean, we talk about sporadic knife crime. They talk about, when we talk about machetes and 2-inch fishing knife blades, and they're talking about, machine guns, Uzis, and it gets very dangerous. Very dangerous. Looking at life imprisonment. What's the point? Giving you might as well jump out of a window and give yourself life out of a window. Not because in prison is not a life, is it really? Living in prison for the rest of your life. Don't be don't be a juvenile, guys. People listening, don't bring your kids up to be a juvenile. Human excrement. I call them people human excrement. I live the life as a Theophilus, fluent as can be, away from torment and torture. I just want to say something. As you know, as I always say, every day I work on progressive progression, doing more for God than I did yesterday. Tomorrow I'll do more for God than I did today. I just want to say thank you, you guys listening. I hope none of your families have been in connection with any COVID people, and I hope you're taking measures safely, not going to local gatherings. I don't write people off for drinking, but you know, if it means that you're going to save your children's life, your family's life, your mum, your dad, your nan, your granddad, don't drink. Don't drink because you're not only putting yourself at risk having a drink with friends, you're putting your family's life at risk having a drink with friends. So think amicable, think sensible, be an inspiration to your family. Set standards amongst the family tradition. Once the rule of the roost stops, everyone should follow the guidelines. Hopefully. Anyway, stay safe. Enjoy possible more quarantine measures. Take it to a holiday, but don't take think like when we go back to normality. I want my quarantine measures to come back because when we've been put out to work, we've got to go back to work. Keep soldiering on, living a dream. We all live a dream, whichever whatever it is. I'm hoping this is going to be my formation for the remaining of my life. It's what I wanted to do as a child. This is my media studies plan A. Plan B failed as an activist, and this is plan A. I think I've got a good force of intelligence, integrity. Um, I could talk about literally anything. Relationship status, amicable relationship, situationship, routes what to go and routes not to go in a relationship. Um, yeah, alienated fathers, alienated mothers. I can sit here and support feminism to a certain extent. What to do and what not to do. I've been there a few times, not many, about 5 times perhaps. But anyway, I want to say God bless, take care. Please subscribe and share, guys. I appreciate you all coming in. Take care. One love.